Hello Libra, welcome to your reading. My name is Maria and this is a tarot intuitive story for you if you have Libra anywhere in your chart, if you're a cross watcher, and or something else might have drawn you here. And if the story resonates, then surely it has a message for you as well. So I feel like the reading today is a little cryptic. I'm hoping we'll figure it out as we go along. I think maybe this is one of those readings where you as a listener need to be very co-creative in order to get the message, because there are a lot of, actually this message keeps shifting. So I'm just recording it now because otherwise in 10 minutes it's gonna be something else. There's something about switching messages, or well, switching, it's sort of like a landscape that keeps moving, a moving target, and you trying to figure out, but is it this, is it that? There's some illusions connected to something that you're trying to unearth. You come out here with the Will of the Wisp card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Treasures hidden in the shadows. So of course, if we venture into the shadows, any shadows in the world, because you're trying to investigate something in the outside world or in others or in ourselves, we're met with a lot of illusions and a lot of things that are difficult to understand and sort of get clarity about. But you're on some journey to understand something because you believe that it has greater potential than what you've seen until now. So this could be a relationship, it could be you yourself, could be something that you're a part of, could also be another person, you know, seeing as we do see a person here, of course that could be you. But to me it comes out primarily as either self, as in sort of life journey, or career, mostly. So the way you're going about trying to figure out, you know, how to sort of unearth this magic that you know there is somewhere, this treasure, is that you're going about it very with sort of consciousness and or emotion, because this one comes out sort of very watery, also like steam or etheric. And the reading is saying, yes, you're absolutely right, because there is an incredible hidden treasure here. It will reveal itself to you, and you going about it this way is the right way. The astonishing thing is that once it shows up, it's fire. It's something else entirely. But you come out the phoenix, rising from the ashes, you know, in my opinion, the most amazing animal ever created in the mind of man, or woman, I guess, humankind, that as far as we know has not existed on earth, but that lives in myths, and you know, that can overcome death, a creature that is burnt to ashes and then rises more gloriously than ever before. So I don't know if you've been through something, well, for some of you, you could have been through something devastating. You could also have had a really sort of a near-death experience, or something very, very powerful that plunged you into the search for something else. You could have gone through a really bad breakup that made you reassess everything. But I mean, that's only coming out now, again, because the message keeps shifting, because at first it didn't come out that dramatically, so it might not be to you. But this shift, of course, is dramatic. Something quite astonishing is happening, and these two are mirroring each other, but they're just different elements. So of course, in order to do that, you would have to spend a little bit of time in the desert. You would have to spend a little bit of time researching, or being alone, or seeking guidance in order to make a shift. Maybe you feel like you've been always sort of close to your potential, but it's always been sort of just a shadow of it, that you've never really burnt like real fire. So that's a part of the message that this hermit is coming out with. It's followed up with, you know, that fact that you take out some time to figure out how to actually get to your real potential, how to reawaken this or awaken this inside of you. That one then comes out this with the joyful muse, inspiration, and the zebra. And together with this one, they're actually also, this one has a double meaning, but because it's also talking about three sort of modalities that you've been in. Now, that's how I understand it primarily, but they could have also actually very easily been sort of three different careers, or these are three people in your life that are important and close to you and play a big role. So one is very solitary, is just really alone, maybe very spiritual, most likely sort of self-isolating a lot of the time, and just really spending time being with the mind or their consciousness. This one really comes out as a party animal, as just incredibly zany, creative and fun, and always up for a challenge, and the one who says yes to everything and always has a new crazy idea. Yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It also looks like living on this, or being with this person all the time, or being this person all the time would just sort of make you go bonkers. It would just be too much, because like everything is crazy here, and even the beautiful instrument, the violin, has been painted with like ridiculous colors. And so it's fun, but maybe also a little much. And then this last person slash part of your career slash part of you is coming out as very vulnerable, and also a little lost. It could be, if this is someone you know, it might be somebody who is sort of slightly in a victim mentality, not necessarily in a bad way, but just that they just sort of always tend to, you know, choose that narrative, or they always tend to sort of end up there, or ending up sort of a little helpless. And so especially these two are very, very different from each other, because it looks like this party animal is certainly not taking any consideration, this one, into any sort of consideration. And this one is of course not really fitting this energy. So it could be also that you know, part of you or part of your life has been, you know, one part of you is like, yes, let's go, let's just have a zany party, let's and then the other one is sort of always lagging a little bit behind and being, yeah, but I mean, what about the more vulnerable parts of me? Where do they fit into this picture? And you know, if I want connection with someone, then how does that fit in with this also? So it's like there's these three sort of options or parts of you, or yeah, you'll know probably by now, they don't really mesh. I mean, they haven't until now, and you're a little in doubt as to what to choose. This card comes out next with you sitting here, and you have these three options. Now we're talking about the sort of the loner, and the party animal, and the vulnerable one, being these three cups. And you're sort of like, it might also be like, which one am I? I mean, who am I actually? Because you know, you might have a hard time trying to sort of really find your true self in this, in being maybe three very different things. But of course, this card is the four of emotions. So there are actually four cups. The fourth one being the one that you're sitting in within, the big one, the one that you that you don't see, that you don't notice, because it's kind of everywhere. And so it could talk about how all of this is you, but I actually feel like it's more, it speaks today more about co-creation, because you have these two figures sort of kissing, and so it's as if your yeah, now another message comes out, because for some reason this comes out today, now at this moment, as the kiss of death, meaning, you know, for the phoenix to rise, there has to be sort of a death has to happen first, a death process. Nobody's dying, it's not about that, but it is about something crumbling. Something has to crumble, something has to come down for this rising of the gloriousness to happen. So so maybe if you are actually coming out of a bad breakup or being fired, or some event that has been destructive to your life, then that is actually divine perfection, because it means that you know, that's the premise for this to happen. So if we wish for big things have to happen. They happen in big ways, and that usually contains both, you know, something you know, for something to crumble in order for something new to arise. But you know, 5 minutes before that, the message was talking about co-creation, about you meeting somebody that you co-create with, and this will make sense. This will make sense. So both of these things could be true. Because either way, this very, very fertile card comes out, the cosmic womb, the divine feminine, which is talking about, you know, being in a space where incredible creation is possible. To me, this comes out actually as God, as you know, as the beginning of everything. This is just waiting. This is the cosmic womb, waiting for the word. The word will be the first creation, and so it's really up to you what it is you want to create, and what your instinct to do is, you know, what has been your modus operandi until now, how you've been sort of dealing with your life, is that you've been trying to be very determined. You've been like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go this way, and it does look a little bit like you sort of have done some twists and turns. Excuse me, my nose always runs when I do readings. But you've always been going very determinedly at it, like because you know the shark doesn't waste any energy. It's very focused, and it's also always going places. I don't know how a shark sleeps. I'm assuming it must once in a while. Excuse me, but it just comes out as if it doesn't. It's always oh, now I'm going for this, now I'm going for that, and you've been yielding results. You're then described with the 4 materials, but it doesn't look like they've been making you completely happy. You've maybe created a lot of material success with being determined and going for this and then for that and then for this, but actually what I see from this card is that it's at this point you're actually a little fed up with it. You're a little fed up with the results that you get from being determined and going about creation in this way that is very powered by your will, because it you know, even though it's one way and then maybe the other, it sort of ends up all the time in the same place. And maybe all of these have also been ending up the same place, right? Because this 4 of emotion is really a card of dissatisfaction, and this one also looks very dissatisfied. So it's like the thing that you've been doing, or even the several things that you've been doing, have not really been, you know, it's never really been the thing where you're like, yes, now I got it, you know, finally it's here. So so what it looks like you're doing now, or being invited to, let's say by spirit, is that instead of you putting a word meaning at a very specific intention, saying, I want this, I want that, into the cosmic womb, you're being invited to let the womb work for you or reveal itself to you, or to let something step out of it. You come out with this card that I think at this point is my favorite one from this deck, the whale song resonating. It's so beautiful, and it has a little bit of the same sort of womb-like magic to it, but it comes out with a whale, which is the most ancient, wise, huge creature of the ocean, and it's it's a deeper wisdom that would like to step forward. So instead of you being very, very will orientated in this area that we're talking about, it's actually asking you to let wisdom emerge and lead you instead. So it's a completely other energy. It works in other ways. It comes from a different place, because it doesn't come from ego. It doesn't come from wanting specific things. It's actually coming from allowing spirit to work on you and allowing something to enter you that is bigger than you. You come with the Justice card here, and it really looks like knowledge, wisdom, and you know, sort of a complete, like, oh, it's almost like downloading a whole new operating system into you. Because I mean, operating from the will is sort of like, that's a very ego driven, that's a whole sort of way of being in the world. And yeah, it always yields the same results. Like, it always yields the same results. It's like wanting something, getting it, kind of getting bored of it, wanting a new thing, maybe not getting that one, but then you know it would have been the same anyway, and then again wanting another. It's just like desire is this never-ending sort of just sand running out of your hands. Whether you get it or not, you'll be dissatisfied. And so to come out of that paradigm, to step into this wisdom space, and to let spirit guide you and show you the way, and let it download a whole new way of being into you, is quite the process. And it seems like it's either what you're ready to do or what you're being guided to do, or maybe you're already doing this. Maybe you could also have, like, if you have splitting headaches and migraines, you might already be in the middle of this, or you might be in a really weird space where it's like nothing is the same anymore, because you're, you know, that old shell is falling away. It also looks very sort of shadowy, and something much more light is coming in. So you're sort of moving from ego to wisdom. Quite the consciousness shift, and that's also explaining why this was the beginning of your reading, right? It's about consciousness and some immense change that's going to completely transform you. And of course, every time we let go of just even the slightest little bit of ego, it's sort of a death process in itself. So so that's happening in order for you to come to this next new level. And the animal that you come out with is the camel. And I really love this because it's so it has a lot of it. To me, I mean, I'm from Denmark, I'm from Scandinavia, so to me the camel is an incredibly exotic animal. It's so beautiful, you know. I just imagine it walking great distances and stopping at ancient pyramids and little oases, and you know, there's the stars, and the pyramid is always a sign of ancient knowledge and mystical knowledge and all of it. I just find this to be sort of way more intriguing than the shark, funnily enough, right? Because the shark is sort of, I mean, but the shark is also something that we love in the modern world, right? There's this channel somewhere in the world that has like a whole week, like a whole shark week. It's all about sharks, apparently, every program. I never heard about a camel week on on any program. They might exist, but it's like this is sort of the, you know, sort of the modern trappings. Like, yeah, we like things that, you know, go for their prey and eat it, and there's blood everywhere. And but really, I mean, this one just looks much more peaceful and mystical and sustainable. So it's another kind of way. You know, this one sort of, it's like it's moving very sort of flowingly, and I just feel now at this point that it just follows, like it knows where the water is. It'll know where the water is, and it follows that path without completely knowing how it knows. This one made a decision where it wanted to go, and then it went there, and then it went another place. So you get it. It's a complete shift. And what it's also saying is that if you were to keep operating from your will, you would remain the same. Like that, your results would be the same, you would be the same, and you are, I think, at this point really fed up with it, or it might not even be possible anymore, because maybe something really big came in that just makes it not possible for you to be what you were anymore. You have to sort of find a new way, and this is grace. This is grace. This is coming in as grace. It wants to make you into a phoenix. So and it's also, of course, this one is talking about justice, higher justice. So how the message that comes to me is that it's sort of, you are not meant to stay in this sort of, let's call it an ego state. But it can be, you know, interpreted as it fits your situation. You are not meant to stay in that because it's a prison. You are meant to be freed sooner or later, and spirit, the hand of God, is sort of coming in to give you this download of sacred geometry, for you to have a sort of a new beginning in your life, and seeing things in another way, where it's not about like choices that are sort of limited, because you had these sort of three personas or three ways, and they were all sort of very sort of archetypal or very one-dimensional, let's say. But then now that this process is happening, or if and when you say yes to it, life looks like this. The gathering around the power of community. So first of all, I mean, yes, if I don't know if you've seen that movie, Fungi. It's on Netflix, and there's also a really great sort of small documentary somewhere on YouTube about a man who starts getting very interested in photographing fungi, because he becomes a widower, and then sort of in his downcast state, he was taking all these long walks in the forest, and he suddenly realized, oh, there's this whole magical world where everything is aglow and is so beautiful, and he just found this whole new passion, and it's glorious, so cute and so beautiful. But it's speaking about how there is another world right under our noses, right next to us. We're just not noticing it, because if we're being sort of in that shock modus operandi, we're not noticing the magic. So it's sort of it's re-enchanting the world for you. The world is becoming re-enchanted, and that is gonna take away all of this dissatisfaction. Like that's gonna this, like, you know, when the sun comes down and the water just vanishes. I don't know what the word is, but it's just gonna vanish, and the world will be enchanted again. It will be so beautiful and full of magic and colors and things you want to discover and things you want to see, and you thought you'd kind of seen everything, and you were almost kind of tired of having desires. Now it's just, everything is sort of an adventure. And it's also talking about community. And in those other cards that we saw earlier, you were actually alone in all of them. There was something sort of solo about that part of your life or part of your journey. Now it's like everything is your friend. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's like every tree, every leaf is your friend. Every every mushroom, every piece of earth, every dog, every person, everything is your friend. It's a really magical world to step into. So all these small things are really the big thing. Like that's a whole, you know, also how they're talking about how the fungi and the trees are actually the original World Wide Web. And so you'll start seeing life in a completely other way and living in another way. And you end your reading with the firefly, which I'm really excited came out. This has never come out in a reading yet. It's such a gorgeous and beautiful card, and it is about you. It's sort of like you. This is right before the phoenix, right? It's sort of like a small phoenix. It's like the little phoenix, and it's almost like it's actually, well, you are rising like the phoenix, but it's sort of like with this and energy, sort of with the energy of the child, or the of wonder. That's what it is. That's really what it is. You'll come back into a sense of wonder, and you'll realize that was what I was missing. That was what my soul was longing for, what my heart was longing for, what my mind was longing for. All of me was longing to live in a world that was re-enchanted, a world of magic, where everything is sort of specks of light and fairy dust, and yeah, that's really, that is what is happening, because you allow wisdom to emerge instead of living, you know, going for yet another desire. Yeah. So, I mean, these two are just, who wouldn't want to live in a world like this? It's just, it's so beautiful, so magical. So, yeah. This was your reading, Libra. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a like or a thumbs up. Well, that's the same. Or a subscription, or a comment. And I'll see you hopefully soon again. Bye, Libra.